I want to ask you this, and Clayton, I'll ask you the same question after, but looking back on that conversation with Clayton from that breakup, do you have any regrets, anything you wish you had done differently? I mean, I'm sure you wish the whole conversation had gone differently, but
Absolutely.
just specifically to you, and then Clayton, I would love to hear your answer to that as well.
Yeah, I think I could have done so many things differently, and we both feel that way in general. And we both acknowledge the places that we could have done better, or the places that we did good. And for me, there's a lot of things that would have changed, but specifically during that conversation, I think I would have been like, why are you freaking out right now? Because I was so caught off guard. And now we understand like where his mind was at. Like he kind of thought like, oh, did you just play me to get to this point? And in that moment, I was like, wait, why are you freaking out? But I didn't ask that. I was just like trying to explain like, this isn't fake. This isn't fake. But instead of like asking more questions to get to the bottom of what was going through his mind, we just were like both in this like panic mode where we were like, I was like, now I'm freaked out. You're freaked out. Like we were just going back and forth of like the panic. I think we both were just totally blindsided by each other. And yeah, I would have asked more questions, and I would have just been more direct, and I would have communicated better overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, very similar for me. I wish that I would have. I think the biggest thing is obviously I regret the way I handled it when I became frustrated and raised my voice. I would have been great if I could have just taken 20 minutes and stepped aside and like taken a breather. It was, my head was racing, and I did have these dark thoughts halfway through the interview of, she's here maybe to be the next Bachelorette. And this was everything that had happened previously with some of the other women kind of being exposed for playing a game. And so I let those thoughts creep in. And then that was at that point when I was outside talking to Jessie, and she came and talked to me. That was when my head started transitioning, and you could see it in my face where she's like, "Do you want to go back inside and talk?" And I said, "Sure. Yeah. I want to hear what you have to say." But I got into a bad headspace at that point. And then from there, I mean, again, people saw my actions, and I do regret the way that I handled that. I was in disbelief, and I was trying to make sense of what it was, and I couldn't see her perspective. And I do see it now, but I think I kind of got into this mindset in that environment where I made assumptions, and that was one of my other biggest regrets. Is I assumed that all of the women kind of expected me to potentially be intimate, potentially fall in love with multiple women. And it's crazy to even say that and think that that would be an assumption. But I thought in this world, in this environment, that's kind of a known, like we know what this week's about. And that was wrong. And as everyone saw, as I brought it up to the other women, all of them were very frustrated and upset. And that was a big, big moment for me when I realized you made assumptions, and because of that, you couldn't have been more off. And now you have to deal with your actions that you assumed everybody was on the same page with, which nobody was.